If you're driving, please remember to use your car's Bluetooth speaker while listening to the AM Drive. Sports talk is not worth your safety or the safety of others.
Grab your popcorn and sit back.
Jump the gun. Oh, no, give me more than that. Okay, go this way. That was dumb. We are.
How could I tell you when nobody wants to? Your faded words I will show.
Welcome into the AM Drive. Good morning to everyone in the sports universe. It is Monday, June the 26th, 2023. For Aaron Crouch, who is not here today, I am your host, Michael Carvelis, saying, what's up, everybody? On today's show, we're going to talk about what makes baseball good. Why two games this past weekend and the games that followed them looked like, what in the world am I watching? Also, top 5 baseball teams brought to you by Aaron Crouch. And then, of course, our next segment, we're going to talk about the Jaguars. Are they the team to beat now in the AFC South? Also, which division in the AFC and really the NFL is wide open? It's one that you may not be thinking about. And also, is Nikola Jokic the clear-cut best player in the NBA? Head to MikeandAaronDrive.com to check out our shop and, of course, all of our sponsors and great links. Go there and check it out and, of course, support the show as we try to bring you the best sports talk Mondays and Fridays right here on AM Drive. What makes baseball good? It's not really a question. It's more of like me telling you. There were 2 games this weekend that you may have heard about that were pretty interesting. First of all, you had the Colorado Rockies and the Los Angeles Angels. No, not that game. The first game where the Angels led and then Rockies won like 7-4. Then you had LSU in Florida, and LSU barely snuck in to their men's college World Series in baseball, and LSU won the first game. And then game 2 happened of both those series. First, the Los Angeles Angels led by Shohei Ohtani and really Mike Trout, which is rare this year that Mike Trout actually led the team. Well, the Angels were up 23-0 by the time the 4th inning was over and ultimately won 25-1. Now, Florida, last night, beat up on LSU like 24-4. But what happened in Game 3 of Rockies and Angels? See, people don't realize there was a game after that, and the Rockies won like 4-3. That's interesting, isn't it? You go from coming back late to being blown off the field to winning it, to taking 2 out of 3 against the team that beat you 25-1. I do wonder if LSU is going to do the same. I would like to think Florida's the better team. They, of course, are ranked higher, and LSU did just sneak into this final. But it makes you wonder, because baseball is so hot and cold. It's kind of like college basketball with a single elimination, but it's like a whole series, of course, which makes the dynamic so much more interesting. You can be hot for like 6 games and then, not be for 7. It's just wild to me. Now, interesting fact about that Florida and LSU game, not only are they college students, so probably affects them a little bit more than it does a professional, it's also their final and their championship. And obviously, the Angels couldn't care less if they lost 2 out of 3 to the Rockies. They probably could, but it's not weighing on their minds that heavily. Like I'm sure they slept fine last night. But remember, the Angels, by the time the 4th inning was over, just got 2 more runs after that. Did you know that in the 9th inning, Florida was still piling on the score? LSU did find some runs late in the ninth inning as well. But you have to wonder, how good is that game 3 going to be? I think either team could win it. I think Florida ultimately does win it because they stayed hot. But baseball is such an interesting hot and cold dynamic. I'll say it again. You can be red hot for a handful of games. And the next handful, you are ice cold. And I can't explain it. To me, this is why I think the steroid issue is such a problem in baseball. Because you literally, the line is so fine. I don't care if you're the best athlete out there. You might go stone cold for 10 games. But if you give me some steroids and you tell me where the ball is going, Houston Astros, then yeah, I probably could smack a home run. I'm 6'2". It's not like it's taboo. This isn't the NBA. This is the Major League Baseball. 6'2" is a pretty decent size. And at 240, I feel like I was a pretty healthy human being. Not now, obviously. 240 pounds, I felt pretty good, though. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, doesn't this make people wonder about the steroid issue and about the stealing signs issue? Oh, it's just fine. It's part of the game. Part of the game? Come on, man. When a team can win, again, 25-1 and then proceed to lose game 1 and game 3. If LSU beats Florida, LSU won game 1 and game 3 and lost the run differential for the entire series. It is a mind-boggling stat. The LSU could still win the national championship. And that Colorado could take 2 out of 3 against the Los Angeles Angels, who have been really good. But my, oh my, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? It makes you wonder why steroids are so pushed aside. Oh, he was still great anyways. That's fine, but he wasn't that great. Like, it's okay for me to admit that on one hand, Barry Bonds is more of an athlete than I am naturally. But on the other hand, the discrepancy between us is not that much because he used steroids the last 70% of his career. So yeah, I can argue that I could hold a candle to him. People think I'm absolutely stupid. But if you look at it, again, look at what happened in these 2 games when the Angels pounced the Rockies and lost game 1 and game 3. LSU beat Florida and they got pounced 24-4 and could still win the World Series anyways. How in the world is it unfair to say at 6'2", 200 pounds, I could not do decent enough at baseball? Now, baseball is such a wide cesspool of people. It's so many athletes, so many minor leagues, it's ridiculous. Maybe because, here's the thought, it's an easy sport to play. No one wants to think about that kind of stuff. Baseball is good to people because they find it the most easiest sport to play. Now, Deion Sanders can moan and complain about, oh, it's hard to hit a 90-mile-per-hour fastball. And again, I disagree to an extent. If your entire life you're trained to hit a ball that gradually gets faster as you get older, I would assume by the time you hit 25 or 28 years old, you can hit a baseball pretty darn good. Now, I haven't played baseball, but people are going to say, well, go and play baseball. It's not that easy. I'm not saying it's that easy. I'm saying if my entire life from the age of 8 years old to the age of 28, if by then I cannot hit a 90-mile-per-hour fastball, I'm slow. I'm just a slow mentally developing person. That's what that is. Most people should be able to do that. It's what makes baseball good. It's what makes baseball one of the most boring sports in the world. Because it's hard to be quick on your feet and do the footwork like soccer does and be able to hit the ball just right. Baseball, you give me steroids and you tell me where the ball's going, pow. Come on. Even pitchers, and there's another thing, pitchers who sometimes aren't even that good can smack home runs. Why can't I? Huh? If I trained from 8 years old to 28 years old to be a world-class athlete, you don't think training and hard work couldn't get me there? I think it could. I think it could more than other sports. Yeah, I do. Come on, man. Don't do this to yourselves. Just don't lie to yourselves. Don't think, oh gosh, they're not as good as. I've always said, if I played high school sports, which I didn't, which I know, whatever. If I played high school sports, I've always said I would have put my 1,000% effort, and the goal would be to make the pros. What's the point of playing high school sports just to screw around? That's lame. The guys who put forth the effort usually make it pretty far. The problem is up here, you don't want to put forth the effort. So that's what makes them so much better in your eyes. But really, they're not. They just had more drive to do it. That's not on them. That's not them being superior to you. I think human beings are capable of great things. And one of those things that's easier than others is baseball. Again, look at how many people play baseball in minor leagues. There's a reason their talent pool is 1,000 times bigger than every other sport. Come on now. All righty. We're not going to do top 5 teams today. I did not get to mine. Aaron, well, let me just go and give Aaron's top 5 teams because he said he would. He said his top 5 are the Tampa Bay Rays at number 1, the Braves at number 2, the Rangers at number 3, Diamondbacks at number 4, and the Reds are at number 5. I believe that's a new number 5 team because Diamondbacks have moved up to 4. Reds have moved up to number 5, so that's interesting there. When I come back, why the Jaguars run my division now, and which team in the AFC is wide open and nobody wants to admit it. So we're right back to the AM Drive. Welcome back here. We are presented by the F at MikeandAaronDrive.com. Head to MikeandAaronDrive.com, and if you want the best in sports merchandise and you want to support the show, just click the Fanatics logo. It takes you all of an extra 5 seconds, and it helps us out tremendously. We make a purchase. Again, every league uses the Fanatics website. Why not use our link to purchase your next set of merchandise? Again, it helps us out tremendously. MikeandAaronDrive.com. Click the Fanatics logo today. Okay, so I'm a Colts fan, and as if you guys know, I really am. I'm optimistic, like obviously I was last year as well, but I'm optimistic about this upcoming season. We've drafted Anthony Richardson, and I would gladly take him over C.J. Stroud or Will Levis. I do think Bryce Young is better, especially right out the gates, than Richardson. But I think AR has a chance, especially with Coach Shane Steichen, who made Justin Herbert look like an MVP and helped Jalen Hurts win an MVP. I do think Richardson is set up for success. But for the Colts, there's still a lot of uncertainty at quarterback. There's still a lot of uncertainty at offensive line. I do like our young defense more than other people do. But I don't think it's one of the best in the league and just take us over every single game. The Houston Texans have C.J. Stroud, who I'm not a fan of. He's an Ohio State quarterback. And besides that, I just don't think he has enough touch on consistent passes. I think he didn't show enough pop to me. Richardson at least showed a lot of, ceiling. C.J. Stroud showed some ceiling, but mostly And, of course, it's the Houston Texans for crying the same. I do like their coach. Their coach, D'Amico Ryans, should have an awesome time. But are they going to be competitive or just competitive enough to not be the doormat of the league? Now, you have the Tennessee Titans, who have peaked for the last 3 years. All they do is make the first or second round of the playoffs, and all they do is choke behind Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill is not a championship quarterback. He's just not. Derrick Henry is once again getting older. So he's bound to get injured again. You've got guys like Treylon Burks who might be good, but they also might continue to shove the ball down the opponent's throat on the ground and not give him a chance. It's funny how A.J. Brown goes from Tennessee to Philadelphia and looks like a number one all of a sudden. Yeah, he looked good at times in Tennessee, but Tennessee has peaked, man. They need a quarterback, and they need to reset the offense, and it's not good enough to me. Then there's a team that last year plugged in head coach and offensive innovator Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson found a new ceiling for Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence became almost as advertised as he was coming out into the drafts. This team is so darn confident, the Jaguars are, that Travis Etienne is reportedly going to take a step back this year. He literally just had one good season after being injured, and they're already so confident they don't need him that much. They've got Christian Kirk. They've got Zay Jones. They've got Evan Ingram at tight end. They've got Calvin Ridley, who could come back and look good. And they got a nice young defense that's only going to get better. The Jacksonville Jaguars are set to run the AFC South for at least the next 3 to 5 years, and it could be more. And as a Colts fan, I have to accept that fact. This team is not a bunch of guys with expiring contracts. This Jaguars team is a team with a great young quarterback, a nice middle-aged head coach, a nice offensive array of weapons, and a defense that can only be hungry because their offense is looking good. I believe the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to have a great time this year and could start to become a contender for the next 3 to 5 years. Again, they pretty much have the division on lock unless Anthony Richardson can look good or C.J. Stroud can look good, because Titans ain't it. And now there is one division, the AFC, that I think is wide open. I know Aaron Rodgers just came to the AFC East. I know the Buffalo Bills have been the cream of the crop in that division. But there is a couple of key things why I think this division is insanely wide open in the best way for the Patriots and the Dolphins. People are automatically writing off the Dolphins as Tua Tagovailoa almost retired because he was pretty much convinced to do so. But you know so many guys in the past have had concussions? Tua has not even gotten paid yet. Why would he retire yet? I'm sure he worked. People are like, he needs to learn to fall. That's a stupid joke. Why does Tua have to learn to fall? Maybe when he throws the ball, if he doesn't get picked up and thrown down to the ground, he's not going to fall like that. It's okay to say there was a dirty play by the defenders who made those plays. If Tom Brady would have fallen flat on his back and onto his head from a defender picking up and planting him, yeah, he would have gotten concussed a few times too. It was scary, if anything. But you look at Tua and how good the offense looked with head coach Mike McDaniel and, of course, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Of course, Tyreek has legal troubles, but those will be brushed aside and under the rug. And then you look at the New England Patriots, who, yeah, there's some controversy out there about Mac Jones being, not the quarterback of the future, maybe Billy Zappi, blah, 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 blah. That team still has a very good defense, and that team still has a very good running game. They're coached by Bill Belichick. They will be relevant. You've got the New York Jets, who have a horrid offensive line, whose own team and coach shunned a quarterback that's still on the stinking roster. Zach Wilson is still a New York Jet, and you would not be able to tell based on the way that team treated them. From their inside reporters to Mike bleeping white shirts, you mean to tell me that team is structurally sound? I don't think so. I think Robert Saleh can lose control of that team. The United Aaron Rodgers, who, to be fair, has been known as a quote-unquote diva first time in Green Bay. I'm not sold on that team. Well, we won this many games. I don't care. Mike White had a good game or two. Zach Wilson would have done okay if you guys had just let him have a chance. But there were times last season where I'm like, why is Zach Wilson even in this game? All they're doing is setting him up for failure on purpose. I couldn't wrap my mind around it. So I'm not sold that throwing in a 39-year-old quarterback who can't run anymore, why would I be so convinced that this team's just going to take the next step? I'm not. They've got culture issues. They've got offensive line issues. Offensive line issues are a monster deal in the NFL. Huge deal. I mean, you look at the Buffalo Bills. Well, the Buffalo Bills, they look good on paper, sure. But tell me outside of Stephon Diggs, who do you trust on that offense? Do you trust any of the running backs? Can you even name the running backs right now? Do you trust Josh Allen after continuing to have turnovers after turnovers? Once Brian Dable left, it got even worse. He's just a big body with a big arm. It hasn't gotten him a dang thing. The Bengals have beaten him. Forget the Chiefs, the Bengals beat him last year. And the Bills were supposed to win that game, I was told. The Bills are so one-dimensional. It reminds me of Justin Herbert's in L.A. It's, oh boy, help me get Willis to the promised land. No, he can't. Even the Chiefs had a run game last year. The Bengals have had run games in the past and should have another one this year. They've got good defensive line. Buffalo Bills, Von Miller helped them out a bunch, but I don't trust their offense. They can score top 5 in the league. That's not what I'm told. I'm told they're the best team in the league. Every year, Buffalo is supposedly the best team, and I don't agree. We've seen that play out in the playoffs last couple of years. I believe the AFC East is wide open. Personally, I'm leaning towards the Dolphins to win it. There's a lot of revolving doors. There's a lot of culture issues. There's a lot of coaching issues in the AFC East. It's not some walk in the park for a certain team in Buffalo. I think Buffalo's going to have their hands full. So we'll see what happens, but I think the AFC East is wide open. When I come back, is Nikola Jokic the clear-cut best player in the NBA? This is AM Drive. If you want the best in meats, AM Drive, code AM Drive for 10% off your order at Agridime. Go to Agridime and check out their awesome array of meats and deals, and you'll be surprised at what you can pick up right at your door. And thank you to the fans of the AM Drive and Agridime that have already done just that. Code AM Drive with Agridime. Is Nikola Jokic the clear-cut best player in the NBA? I'd have to raise a question and a concern for that. Remember when a guy named Giannis Antetokounmpo, this young foreign star that had taken over the league, he won a championship, and all of a sudden the Bucks were the next dynasty, best player in the world, and gets bounced in the first round by the Miami Misfit Heat. Could not make his free throws late. Well, on the surface, I do think Nuggets are more set up for the future than those Bucks were and are. Am I completely sold on Nikola Jokic? No, I'm not. I'm not. I believe it's funny how you can let him score 50 and his team can lose. I think it's interesting that he is not the fastest guy. And people say, well, he manipulates the game. That's fine. But I think I would take Luka. I would take John Morant without the head case problems. I would take LeBron. I would take a few guys in the NBA more than I would take Jokic. Jokic does not shoot the three ball consistently enough. Yeah, he can make him at a high percentage when he takes 2 a game. That's fantastic. You know how many guys in the league can do that if they took 1 or 2 a game? Yeah. He's not a willing three-point shooter. He does that thing where he stands around, looks for a guy and finds him. If you guard the cuts, I know it's easier said than done. They just want a stinging championship. But look at who they went through. The Timberwolves. I'm trying not to laugh as I say that. They went through the Phoenix Suns with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, career choke artists to this point. Seriously. What has Durant done outside of Golden State? What has Devin Booker done? Nothing. And then you go to the Lakers with LeBron, who was supposedly with a foot injury, AD, who's as night and day as they come, and then they beat the misfit Heat. I understand you beat what's in front of you, but I don't think this Jokic ring holds much more value than what the Bucks ring held. I don't think they're, because I can look on the surface and recency bias will tell me, yeah, Jamal Murray, yeah, Nikola Jokic, yeah, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., yada, yada, yada. But are we sure that Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. are not going to demand a bunch of money? I'm not sure about that. Are we sure that Aaron Gordon is finally going to play with the number 3 pick in the draft? I'm not sure about that. This team is so bent on building people around Jokic. They also had a bunch of misfits this year. The Bruce Browns, the Contavious Caldwell-Popes of the world. This team had some guys that could step in and fill a void. We'll probably be on new teams next year. And that matters. If your front office can stack the deck like that again, that's fine. But we don't know right off the bat. Nikola Jokic is clear-cut number 1. Because doesn't Giannis have an MVP? Doesn't Giannis have like a Defensive Player of the Year? Come on, man. I find it I'm very hesitant to call Jokic a guy who can either run or jump the best player in the National Basketball Association. Last time I checked, guys like me aren't the best players. I don't care how good your footwork is. I don't care how good your intangibles are. That was a very good Nuggets team who had a very easy walk to the finals. I believe that. He beat a lot of superstars. Those superstars on those teams were very disjointed. There's a lot going on, and context matters. So don't be surprised if the Nuggets win it again, and don't be surprised if they fall flat on their face in the first round. Both could easily happen. And if the difference is that much, if I think there's that much parity, I don't think Jokic is by far and away this universally known best player. I think we're jumping the gun a little bit too much. Shout out John Morant. All right. Thanks for tuning in to this lonely AM drive today. Just the M drive today. Holy cow. That is rough stuff. On Friday, Aaron should be back, and I'm holding him accountable for being back Friday. We see you guys Friday, same time, same place. Thanks so much for tuning in. Head to MikeandAaronDrive.com to support the show. And as always, for God's sake, please and do drive safe. Bye.